In this video, we're going to build a decentralized application using React.js as our front-end framework. So you can see right here, I'm inside my project directory, which is called to-do-DApp. That's the decentralized application we'll be making today. As far as setup goes, there's relatively little you need to install. First, you need Node.js installed, and that's because to run React, we're going to use the Node.js runtime. Next, you should have an Ethereum wallet to connect to our Web3 and connect our React app to the blockchain. So I use MetaMask. You can get this by just going to metamask.io and click download now, and it should download as a Google Chrome extension. And once you open it, once you install it, it should open up this page. And we're not going to press this get started button and configure MetaMask just yet. We'll do that later in the video. Just have this ready. I also need to have Truffle. And Truffle is going to be the environment that we use to build and deploy our smart contracts. This can be installed just with npm install Truffle, global Truffle. I've already installed it, so I'm not going to do that again. But once you've installed it, you should have the Truffle CLI available. And I'm going to run the Truffle command, Truffle init, and this will create a new Truffle project. Okay, now I'm going to open this up in my code editor, and you should see something like this: a Truffle config.js, contracts folder with migrations.sol, migrations folder with a JavaScript file, and then a test folder. We're going to edit this Truffle config.js. For networks, we're going to add a network called develop. The host is going to be a local host. The port is 8545. And the network ID, we're just going to set it to match any port. And I'm going to copy this and also have a network called development that is the same thing. Now, we're not quite done with configuration yet because we also want to be able to access our contracts inside our React app. And our React app is going to be inside this project. So all the contracts will be outside. So what we need to do is when we're compiling our contracts, we need to store them inside our React app. So we have to change where the contracts get built. So luckily, Truffle allows us to do this. We'll say const path is require path. And we just have to change the contracts build directory. And we'll set that to path.join the current dir name, and client / source client is going to be what the folder our React app will be, and then source, it'll be all the source files, and then it'll be stored in contracts. Okay. Next, we're ready to actually build our contract. Now, we're not going to deploy it yet because we don't have this client. So I'm going to create a new file called todo.sol. I'm going to copy these first two lines so that I don't have to write them out again. And then I'll have my contract to do. Yeah, I'll just have a string array list, which is going to be the list. And I'll have some functions. So function, we want a function to add a string memory value to the list. This is just going to be list.push. You also want to be able to get the list. There's going to be a public view that returns string array memory. And then it's going to return. We also want to be able to get an item at a certain index. And that'll be a public view which returns string. And that will just return list at index I. We're not going to be worried of deleting an item from the list right now. We just want to make it super simple. just let's initialize it with some elements. So in the constructor, I'll add test. Okay, now we're ready to create our React app. Or actually, before we do that, we want to add a migration so that when the time comes, we can deploy it. So I'll create a new file in my migration called to deploy contracts.js, and you can call it whatever you want, because it is just going to migrate all. It's going to combine all these files and migrate them all. You don't have to name them anything particular. And basically, we just can copy this code that they have, and then replace all the migrations that we see with to do. And then I'll say require to do. Okay, now we're ready to create our create React app. And this will take a few minutes. Once it's created our React app, we're going to install a package that we can use to connect to the blockchain. So I'm going to go C client and then npm install web3. Okay, once that's done, I'm going to open up my client, go to source, and add a new file called init web3.js. And this is the file that we're going to connect to web3. And I have this code copied over, and I will post all the code that this entire project onto GitHub and post that link in the description. So you can just copy it from there. Basically, this is just code that connects to the localhost 8545. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is actually connect. So I'm going to import init web3 from /init web3, and I'm going to import to do contract from /contracts/to-do.json. And this is not there currently, but remember in our truffle config, we said that all our builds will go into this folder. So once we build it, there will be this. Okay. I'm going to empty everything that was in here and have a few state variables. I'll have my contract, and that'll just right now be set to use state null. And I'll also have a state variable for our list, and that'll be set as an empty array to start off with. So when this we're going to use the use effect. I think I forgot to import this. Then we're going to run an asynchronous function. And we can't make the use effect callback function asynchronous. So we have to just call an asynchronous function inside. So here we're going to set web3 to await, or actually we'll have a try catch, so just in case there's any error. So try web3 is await init web3. And we're going to say our network ID is await web3.net.get ID. And we'll have our network be to do contract.network. And then we'll have our instance be, we'll have it be new web3.f.contract. This is the class. we'll pass to the contract.api network address. Okay. Now, and then we'll also here set contract to instance. And then if we catch an error, we'll go to console error. And then when contract changes, if we have a contract, like if the contract is not null, then we're going to get our list. So we'll do contract dot methods dot what do we call it? Get list. Contract dot methods dot get list. Then whatever the response of that is, we'll set our list to that response. And then here we can just do list.map item index div QI. Okay, now we're ready to deploy our contracts and our network and set up MetaMask. So I'm going to navigate back to this directory and run truffle develop. So one small error we made, we have underscore journey. It's supposed to be underscore journey. So let's try that again. Okay, now we have these accounts and we have some private keys and we have a mnemonic. I'm going to copy that mnemonic, go to MetaMask, get started, import wallet. I agree. And we just paste in we just pasted in the mnemonic and we set whatever password you want. Just make sure they match and then just agree to the terms of use, import, all done. And instead of Ethereum mainnet, we're going to connect to localhost 8545, and you should see we have 100 ETH. Okay, now I'm going to run truffle migrate -- reset, which is going to compile all our contracts and deploy them, migrate them. So it seems like the compiler that they're using is a little bit outdated. So in Sol C, I'll set the version to 0.0. And you can see it compiled successfully. The compiler they used was a little bit old. Okay, so now deployed. So now let me open a new command prompt. Go to our to-do DApp, do client, and do npm. Let's start. So once that has loaded, you should see this MetaMask notification, connect with MetaMask, and press next and press connect. And you should see test. Okay, so that's good news because it means that we connected successfully. Okay, now we need to be able to add. So I'll say item to item is new state blank. And then I'll have over here a break and have an input with the value be item and on change. Take the event and we're going to set the item to event.target.value. And then we'll have a button, and on click, we're going to do something similar to here. We're going to do contract methods dot add, and we're going to add item. And this time we're going to send it. Add. Oh, wait, this has to be a function, so let me change this so that it's a function. Okay, so now if I add an item, okay, no from address, okay. So let's see if we do call instead of send. I think and that would work, yeah. Hi, add, refresh this. No, so I think we do have to do send, but we have to specify from, and that's just going to be web3.f.accounts 0. I think this will work. Well, we have to define web3. So, okay, so I think I figured it out. We have to specify the address we set. So let's say it's set. State. Be blank first. Is open accounts. We're going to set account to accounts 0. And then over here, we're going to do send from account. Try this. Account is not different. Did I spell it? Okay, account. Do hi. Add, okay. Get a MetaMask notification. And I confirm. Okay, now if I reload this page, you'll see test and hi. And I could also, one thing I can do is automatically reload the page once this is done, or I could set the state. So it's what I can do after this. So I'll do the add item, and then I can either reload or just update the state. I think just so now I can add items. And oh, I have to first confirm. So then I have to first complete the transaction. So if I add like G, and add MetaMask gives me notification, confirm, reload, and now I see G. So that is how you create a basic to-do decentralized application using Truffle, Solidity, and React. See you next time.